Oh, I laugh because I just looked up at this new monitor we got. Let's talk about this for a hot second. Week one, we did this on an iPhone. Okay, let's just be real about this right now. I'm gonna post some pictures on our on the Instagram and on our Facebook pages and stuff like that, so you can see the setup that we have now. But like, you really have to wrap your mind around that we started this really with the idea that we wanted to just come out and be able to give information and have fun to people, and we have evolved into graphics. We've evolved into subscribe lines. I mean, this is for me. I can't thank everybody enough for coming back. Welcome to Ride Detroit Weekly. I am your host, Jason Hall, also known as the Jason of all trades on Instagram and all over the place. Uh, Welcome back. This is going to be an amazing week because this is like, for me, I feel like we take baby steps every week, you know what I mean? And this one, we're actually talking to like a rep from a legit like company. Like, we've talked to like people who are movers and shakers, but like this is like a brand. We're talking to Adam Kidd from Shimano Bikes this week. I'm super excited. We're going to talk about the step system that's going on the e-bikes. But before we get to Adam, you know what we got to do? If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, go ahead and hit that button. Please subscribe. We crossed 100 and we gave away some stuff last week. We gave away $50. We're still waiting to connect with that person so they can get their 50 bucks. So we'll make sure we try to get a little more info so we can get it to them. But now the new goal is 500. So we're trying to hit 500. And next thing you know, we're giving away a $100 gift certificate to Electric Avenue Bikes. So you'll be able to come by, spend that 100 bucks on whatever you like within the store. But we got to first get to 500. So we're over, I think we're almost to 150 or something like that, right? Well, near 150. So we got to get to 5. So that means you got to start telling people about how awesome the show is. You got to start sharing. You got to start commenting. And you can start sending us ideas of guests you might want on the show. So interact with us so we can hit that 500 and move on to the next level. The next question is it is springtime. Do you ride with RiDetroit? We started a little campaign while you're out riding your bike. You know, RiDetroit, we do tours and we do rentals out of Electric Avenue Bikes over on Woodward. But we also like to take photos. We like to show off the city. So if you are out riding your bike, by all means, hashtag ride with RiDetroit so we can see it. We want to see the love. We want to see. I just did a tour. A group was from Chicago. And then today, a group came from Portland. And we sent them over to Sapino's and they got some pizza. So we're not only touching, and the person who won, where were they? They were from Portland. The person who won is from Portland. So we're not just touching local, everybody. We're touching national. So spread the word of RiDetroit. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I want to thank last week's guest, my homie, Chris Economius. He came on, Economius, sorry. You know, these names, man. I try to get them right, you know. That's my homie, dude. He works for the Pistons. He is the social responsibility and community manager for the Detroit Pistons, man. He came on last week, hung out. We vibed super hard on how I was actually upset about Blake Griffin actually going to another team and playing better. But that's not really what we talked about. We talked about all the amazing stuff that the Pistons are doing in the community and how they're really dealing with the pandemic and how what he did went from really focused on having fun all the time to having fun and being smart and being safe and getting out proper information about how you can be safe. All right. So you can check out that episode on the RiDetroit YouTube channel. That lives there. All the stuff that we've done for the RiDetroit. Now we got a new show called the E-Bike Experience. We've been working on this. We put the first episode of that out where we review different bike products. And this time we went with the Elant Plus 7S from Trek. So you can go check that out. It's a brief review. We like to show you the progress that we do, just like we did with this. So I know everybody's going to have an opinion. Can I get more information, stuff like that? And you will. Once I get comfortable, we just built a really cool bike that you can also see on our Instagram and our Facebook stuff that we're making just for getting better footage and B-roll. So we're trying to improve the product, guys. But we like to show you the progress instead of like really trying to polish this thing. We just like to put it out, have fun doing it, and show how much fun we have creating content and just showing off the cool stuff. So those will be periodically coming to you. So check out the E-Bike experience. And last but not least, you can always catch up on my murals in the market, all that my live stuff that is archived. Unfortunately, we are no longer doing murals in the market live. Not saying it'll never, we'll never be back, but right now we're taking some time off while we rebrand over there and see what's going on. But all the interviews will be, they are live on the YouTube channel as well, and I'll be dropping those occasionally on the channel. So, on the Facebook and Instagram, so you can see those too, because we did over 40 of those. So I would love to see you guys get some input. I mean, we did some great artists like Kashink, of course, Sheefy McFly, Hometown Hero, Sidney James. I mean, Skew One. I mean, can I go on? I mean, Bisco Smith. If I started naming names, I'd be here all day. So do yourself a favor, go over to the RiDetroit channel and check that out. All right, I've had Adam sitting on hold. He's ready to rock. Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Kidd. He is the demo coordinator, steps representative for Shimano EBikes. What's up, Adam?
Hey, what's up, Jason? How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right, brother. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm as ready as I'm gonna be. This is actually my first time doing anything like this, so I'm a little bit nervous. I'm used to just talking to groups of people in the field or at bike shops, at events. So this is a little bit different for me. But
Oh man,
yeah,
you're
let's
just
do it.
talking to me. We're just hanging out. We're just having a conversation. Whenever people come on, they always get nervous, but it's just you and me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
As far as you know, I mean, I do have
yeah,
millions of viewers. So as far as you know, if you make up a mistake, it might get to you. No, I'm just kidding. It's just you and me, brother, hanging out. Thank you for coming out
yeah,
today. I know you're you're not even in Michigan right now, but this is part of your territory of where
correct.
what you cover. So can you talk to everybody about what you do? You're the demo representative. So what's your territory? What do you cover? And what do you do when you're talking about demos?
Yeah, so I do. I'm part of a larger team, and I do demos along the east coast of the country, uh, over to Wisconsin, and then pretty much down. I do the entire East Coast. So I do all the e-bike training for shops and OEMs, and then demos at Fat Tire festivals, different industry events, trade shows, things like that.
Well, you
Yeah.
make it sound so you're like, yeah, man, just things like that.
Oh,
Let me
it's
kind of
fun.
help you out with this, okay? So Adam travels from city to city, lots of them, lots of cities. He gets to travel. His job is traveling, spreading the word of e-bikes. And so it's not only getting people on bikes, but it's really spreading the word and the education, because a lot of times you go to these places and people have no idea what e-bikes probably even are.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of times, it's getting better as e-bikes are becoming more and more prevalent. But a lot of the events that I go to, people are riding them for the first time. They might have a lot of misconception about, what they do or how fast they are, how they operate. But then once they get on them, I think they, have a better understanding for how they work and, what they're capable of, and what they could do for them, as a rider and where they fit in. So it is fun, being able to meet new people and, kind of spread the stoke, on Shimano steps and just get people excited about it.
Yeah, yeah, I part of my job, like I said, every day when I come in, yeah, I'm excited about new technology and I'm a nerd and I'm into all that stuff. But when a person walks in the door and they're a person who is like, I hate to use an open bucket to fill with information, it's amazing to watch them learn and get excited, then get them on the bike and get them riding
Yeah,
is a whole nother thing. Have you ever had
yeah,
anybody who was really reluctant about riding the bike that came back and said, okay, I get it?
yeah. I mean, absolutely. It not so much. Well, it's been a while since I've been at an event, but yeah, a lot of times there are some states, it seems, some areas of the country that are a bit more reluctant, and to embrace them the way other parts are. But yeah, I've done rides or demos with people, and somebody has asked me like, well, where's the throttle? And I'll say
Yeah.
like, well, this bike doesn't have a throttle; it's class one. It gives you assistance when you pedal, and then when you stop pedaling, it stops assisting you. And then they say like, oh man, I need to go ride this bike, and then they come back and they're stoked on it. I
Yeah.
think people have this misconception that e-bikes, are all throttle assist or they're like little motos, and that's not necessarily the case. So I used to get that a lot, not so much anymore. from people. But yeah, it seems as I would go and do more and more events, there are more and more people that were, had experience on them, which is cool, to see that.
And so, like, we were talking about the throttle misconception. Was like, we get that every day. People come in here and they say, oh, it's the lazy man's bike. And then they say, where's the throttle? And then when I
Yeah,
tell them they can actually ride with the motor off,
yeah,
their eyes light up. But
yeah,
I got to be honest, I've never had anybody ride with the motor off, unless the battery died. So let's talk
yeah.
about, like, get a little bit into, well, let's, before we get into steps, you were saying how you haven't been able to do a lot of stuff this year. And there's obviously the reason for that has been the pandemic. How's it been? Has it been a challenge this year?
It's been different. So, my last event with Shimano was actually CABDA in 2020. I was in Chicago, and COVID had kind of started. It was in the news. We were hearing about it, but I don't think there were any cases even, in the U.S. yet. It was still in the early stages of it. And then as it started to spread, and we start hearing about more and more cases, we ended up canceling our events, and then more events followed. So it's really been since February of 2020 that I've been able to do an event. All of last year, we kind of pivoted, and then we worked on some other projects. I was actually working in our warehouse in North Charleston for a bit, just because, I'm sure you're aware, like there was the bike boom, when,
Right.
everybody, all the bike shops just started to get really busy. So I helped out some of the folks in our distribution center in North Charleston. I traveled when I could. It was a lot of touch and go stuff. Everything had to be approved. But yeah, we haven't done any events since then. We're hoping to really get back into events, hopefully the latter half of the year, as things develop, and as things get going. I don't know of any that are really scheduled before then. Most of them seem to be scheduled for, August and beyond. So hopefully we'll be able to attend that.
Okay, something just fell in the shop and made a ding. Sorry about that. That was awesome and it scared me. I was there like, okay. So
I
yeah.
actually thought you were cutting me off. I thought, like, that,
Yeah, I was like, the Oscars, the music
yeah,
starts. I was like, and
like,
that's
oh,
Adam
great.
King.
They just
Thank
gave me
you.
the hook,
No, dude. Thanks, Alpha. Thanks for, and then he
Yeah.
puts it right back in the same spot where it fell from before. So it's probably gonna fall again. That's how we do things. So yeah, man. Yeah, no, and we talk about, a good amount of getting on the e-bike is about experience. So if you can't, we could talk about it all day. We can talk about watts. We can talk about size of battery. But until you actually get on the e-bike and feel what we're talking about, it doesn't make sense. So yeah, man, it's been a challenge getting people on those bikes to be able to
Yeah.
demo and experience what we're talking about. But I'm sure you guys are working. If you said late fall, hopefully we'll get some demos going.
Yeah, hopefully. And I mean, I don't know where those would be. A lot of it is up to the organizers and what they feel comfortable doing. I think everybody's kind of in the same boat where they don't want to do anything if it's going to be unsafe. We don't want to travel if it's going to be unsafe for us or anybody else. And also what we do involves a lot of, like close contact talking with people,
Yeah.
and then we're also letting people share bikes, so, we don't want to do anything that's going to be, potentially unsafe for people. And I'm sure organizers are in the same boat. If they had an event that would attract, 10,000 people, like how are they going to, organize an event where they potentially can only, cap it at so many people, it's going to have to be worthwhile for them as well.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we talked about the bike boom for a hot second,
Yeah.
that was, people think I was joking. I used to get calls on the phone and people would say, hey, do you have this bike? And I say it's sold out nationwide. And they say,
Yeah.
nah, man, I know you got them in the back. Come on, tell me the truth. What was your experience like during that? Because for us, it was just crazy. I mean, what was it like to
Yeah.
get
So
the,
Um, it was a little bit different for me because, if I'm not at events, then I'm generally doing, I'm on the road doing shop training. I would go to a shop and then, do a clinic for them, or I would at least just introduce myself and kind of let them know where they could find their resources, and then, offer my services as an additional resource to them. But if the shops are so busy, then they don't want to talk to me on the phone, or they don't really want me coming into the shop, especially during a pandemic. So, you know, I would call a little bit and just kind of see how they were doing, you know, see if there was anything that we could help them with. But then we also had some other projects going on as well, you know, at home. I would, you know, like I said, I helped in the warehouse, or we would do some other training and things like that. But I, yeah, it's hard because, you know, you guys were so busy at a bike shop level, and we didn't want to interfere with that. You know, but we did want to be there for you as much as we could.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, we went through bike shortage, then we went through a parts shortage, then we
yeah,
went then we went through a rubber shortage, which I think we're still in a rubber shortage. And once
yeah.
again, people don't understand that. They think that we're not making this stuff, but it actually is hard to get. You know, did you guys at Shimano go through any slowdowns during that time? I mean, as far as parts, I mean, because you guys are a major manufacturer of components.
Um, you know, we did the best to keep up with the demand. I know that. But as far as any, you know, are you asking about, like, you know, material shortage or
Yeah,
anything
did
like
you guys have any? Do you guys have any experience any problems? Yeah, with like material shortages or anything?
Not that I know of.
Okay,
You know, not that I was made aware of.
okay.
You know, we were manufacturing as much as we could to keep up with the demand, but you know, we just did our best, and everybody that, you know, could help out, you know, in a different area, you know, did help out, you know, as much as they could. You know, like helping out in the warehouse or helping out in customer service. You know, a lot of the guys that were on the road would help out, you know, answering phones in customer service. So, you know, we all just kind of jumped in, you know, and helped out, and, you know, where we could, just to do, you know, do the best to, you know, help shops and help consumers.
For sure, for sure. So
Yeah.
let's talk steps, man. Let's talk about the step system. You
Okay.
know, I've ridden it a couple times, but as we talked about before the show, clearly I'm not that knowledgeable on it because we talked about the different classes, but you guys are focused on class one. But talk to me about
Yeah.
the steps right now. So what is it?
Um, yeah. So it's a mid-drive, you know, a mid-drive e-bike system, and we do the drive unit, the batteries, and all the components. Steps is compatible with all the Di2 electronic shifting as well. Um, and the most recent release is EP8, which is a mountain bike
Okay.
specific system, and update to our, well, an upgrade from our E8000 system that a lot of people might be familiar with. Really excited about it. It's more torque, less drag, it's quieter, really provides an awesome, like, natural ride feeling, which I think is really important with mountain biking. And it just feels good on the trail. You started seeing that, I think it was released in September of 2020, and now we're starting to see it more, you know, on different bikes as those become released.
Yeah, no, like I said, when we started our conversation, I mean, honestly, I'm thinking 20 miles an hour. I'm thinking cruisers. You know, I'm thinking this certain mindset, but you know, no mountain bike is going to go 28, really, you know, so 20 is where you need to be. And you don't need to go 28 because you're looking at more about torque as opposed to top end speed, you know, on a mountain bike.
Right. Right. And, you know, with the mountain bike too, a lot of trails, I mean, even though they're all class one, you know, and the speed governor caps you at 20 miles an hour, a lot of the trails are so technical that you can't maintain 20 miles an hour on some trails. Um, you know, so at least a lot of where I live, you know, on the, you know, in the Southeast, a lot of it's very technical, and also, you know, a lot of areas are very flat, but a lot of the riding out here is super technical. And there aren't many people I don't know of that can, you know, maintain 20 miles an hour. You know, even when I'm riding one of the e-mountain bikes on a local trail here, I'm not maintaining that much. There's just too many twists and turns. You know, it certainly makes it fun, but yeah, you can't keep up that speed. And also, you know, with the EP8 system, you could even adjust the speed too. So you can't make it go faster than 20 miles an hour, but there is a setting, you know, where you can decrease the speed between 12 and 20. So, you know, if
Okay.
the bike was ridden by a kid, or if the parent just didn't want him to be able to go that fast, you could even decrease the speed a little bit
Nice.
on that as well.
Nice. I
Yeah.
love that. And I
Yeah.
love how you touched on that for a kid, you know,
Yeah.
because listen, we've had people come in here and they've bought a bike online and it goes 20 miles an hour and they're buying it for a kid and they think because it's got 26-inch wheels and because the kid could technically fit on the bike that they could give this kid a bike. And I've always sort of had this weird gray area where I felt weird about putting a child on a bike that can
Yeah.
do that speed. So that's
Yeah.
awesome that you can actually put that governor yourself at
Yeah.
12 miles an hour. Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, you could have the shop, like with our eTube app. I mean, the shop can, set that. So if the purchaser were to say like, hey, I'm kind of uncomfortable with my, child going this fast. Can you decrease the speed a little bit? We've seen that. We've also seen, adults, that want a new mountain bike. They want the assistance, but they ride paths that are, pretty heavily trafficked. So, with our 6100 system as well, which is a city system, you can make that, you can change the speed between 12 and 20 as well. So I've had adults ask me, if they could, ride this like a little bit slower, like cap it at about 15, 16 miles an hour, which is the, the European, spec, that regulation. So I've seen people do that as well, and it's just cool that there's that functionality, just
Absolutely.
to kind of, get them into it and still feel safe, so they don't get on the bike and start pedaling real hard, and it seems like it's kind of getting away from them.
Well, that is awesome. Once again,
Yeah,
I love it. That's why I love the show, man, because even like I think I know something that is awesome. Do you get
yeah.
I mean, so you get people who do inquire about children's e-biking these days?
No, I get it at events.
Okay.
It's hard to say, these days because I haven't, done, so many like I haven't done any events for a while, but
Right.
I would get that question a lot with, parents that were, like very fit riders and their kids wanted to ride and they, necessarily couldn't, they couldn't keep up with them for some reason, or they wanted an e-mountain bike to, like ride with their dad or something. So they would ask me that question,
Hmm.
about limiting the speed on it, just for safety. But yeah, I can't say that I've had that recently. Just because I haven't really talked to
Right. Right.
as many people as I would. But um, yeah, it's the other kind of gray, or the, like you mentioned with, do I want to let them out on the bike? Like I get that at demos too. I have a kid that, yeah, you'd fit a small e mountain bike, but how old are you? Like, does your parent approve of, me doing this?
Right.
So, there's always some additional questions there because I don't want to send anybody out on a test ride if they're going to be, if they're going to be unsafe. The last thing I would want to do is see a kid, get injured because he, kind of got the bike got away from him.
Hmm. No, I mean, e-bikes right
Yeah.
now are one of the hottest things, and we know that. We get people, like I said, talking about mail order bikes, online sales all the time, and no one's on the other end of that to educate them on what this bike does, what it's capable of as far as speed, and so it's important that we look out for those people. We can't just
Yeah.
sell them. So I'm glad, like I said, you brought that up. And when you bring that down and you max that, does it save battery? I mean, because it's got to, because you're not going over, you're not, maxing that thing out. So if I bring my speed down to 12 or 16, does that give me more battery life?
Yeah. I mean, you might actually offset it a little bit if you're riding it in boost as much and it's constantly wanting to, accelerate, even if it is cutting off. But overall, yeah, anytime that you kind of decrease those settings, you're going to, save battery life. With our eTube app on your smartphone, you can adjust the settings too. So with EPA, for example, you can adjust, there's two different rider profiles and you can customize, the max torque in different modes and, the assist profiles there. So that'll help you save battery as well. If you have if you ride a lot in the mountains or if you ride a lot in flats, you can adjust those settings to try to conserve battery if you are doing a, big mountain day. Um, because that is a concern, for anybody riding an e-bike is, battery life. So anything you can do to kind of decrease the set, decrease the torque and the assistance, yeah, that's going to extend your battery life.
No, that is awesome. And once again, you can do that on certain models strictly from your phone.
Yeah, yeah, it's a smartphone app, eTube project from the App Store, on your iPhone or Android. There's a lot of different customizations you can do. EP8 and 6100, I would say, give you the, the most, customizations available, but that's how you would do all your firmware updates as well. from that app. If you had any maintenance things that you wanted to diagnose, the best thing to do would bring it into a bike shop, and let them diagnose it. But as far as all the maintenance goes, like the firmware updates and then the customizations, the general upkeep, like all that stuff, you can pretty much do from your phone. It's actually, it's a good practice to be in, just to kind of check, for a firmware update on your drive unit or any of the other components, every couple months,
Absolutely.
just to make sure that everything's running, with the latest firmware.
Absolutely. And we both know, these are little computers. That's the other thing I talk to people when they come in. I say, this controller is basically a little computer, and it needs to talk to something. It needs to understand, and that is incredible that you guys make one that's that intuitive, that I don't have to necessarily, like you said, yeah, come to your bike shop when you want the major diagnosis, but like little things I can actually just look at. I'm a nerd, so I would be looking at my phone all the time just to make sure everything was set up, So that's
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Is the
yeah.
what other technologies that are you guys like, surprise me, man? Tell me about something that I might not know about, because pretend I'm a
Oh,
layman. I actually am when it comes to this, I guess.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
I mean, tell me some other features of the steps, that are like that I just, I know, listen, man, I know plug it in, it goes. You know what I mean? I don't know. I didn't know it did that. Are there any other cool features that you'd want to talk about that it does?
Um, Yeah, I think some of the other cool stuff, like there's a lot of integration with EPA to do hub drive, systems. So, that I think one of the cool things about it is the compatibility with a lot of the other with a lot of the other Shimano components. Everything's kind of designed as a system. So you can still use your Di2 um, your Di2 electronic shifting, like with E-Road, or if you have, an electronic mountain bike group, like the XTR, Di2, all that stuff is compatible, and it makes the bike overall more intelligent, through intelligent walk assist, and also in kind of defining the assist character, because it also knows what gear you're in. So you can, um, it kind of hones the, how much assistance it gives you, because it's calculating your speed, cadence, and torque, but also it can take the gear into account, and help hone that. So that's pretty cool. Just all the compatibility that kind of comes along with it, with the other Shimano components that we love.
It just really sank into me when we're talking about the DI, the DI system. Most people don't know that's electronic shifting. He touched it a second. So if you've got electronic shifting and an electronic controller, that to me is the ultimate in, like, what else would you need? You know what I mean? The bike is
Yeah,
shifting for you and it's giving you assistance. I mean, that's insane.
yeah, it's kind of wild, to hear, a Di2, e mountain bike, because you kind of hear the, hum, from the drive unit, but you also hear like the, like you
Yeah.
hear the little motor in the shifter, shifting the gears. So, it is pretty wild, but it's fun. It makes the bike, just really intelligent and, fun to ride. So it's exciting to see, like where the, possibilities are, like, where it kind of ends up. And also, there's compatibility through other, head units, like, GPS units, like Garmin, being able to sync your step system to your Garmin, stuff like that.
Oh,
That's a lot of fun to kind of, like you said, you're,
uh,
kind of a tech guy or into
this
gadgets,
is too much.
so if you're,
This is too much for me right now.
yeah, like if you have a compatible Garmin unit, you could sit there with your bike and your Garmin and your smartphone and just kind of go back and forth, and kind of get everything kind of synchronized and everything. And it's fun to, fiddle with, just to kind of find, what works for you. And that's another cool thing about being on the road and, talking to bike shops and, talking to consumers is, hearing some of the things that they've done, or kind of how they use it. Because a lot of times, like, the way that I ride an e-mountain bike might be a little bit different from the way that they ride, so if they show me what they've done, or, kind of how they have it set up, like it's, something that I learn as well. And then, when I get back home from that trip, I might end up, grabbing my Garmin and, my smartphone and going through, like seeing what I could come up with, and, just kind of fiddling with it and just trying new things.
No, man. So I asked you earlier if you were an e-bike rider. Are you an e-bike rider? Are you an e-bike rider, Adam?
Yeah, I love riding e-bikes. I mean, I have a bike for pretty much every purpose. I have my
Yeah.
road bike, my gravel bike, my personal mountain bike, and then I have, the I'll ride one of my demo bikes a lot. My wife also rides, my father-in-law rides. Like it's definitely something that we're all interested in as a family. So, um, like I'll let them take one out for a ride, and like we might all ride them one day. Maybe I'll ride my personal bike and they might ride e-bikes. Like also, I just went out for a ride the other night. I just had so my wife and I had a baby in December. So,
Ah,
um, thank
congratulations.
you. So,
Yeah.
the days are a little bit different. The schedule got a little bit busier. So, I was able to get out for a ride, but I was also kind of racing, the sunset. So I grabbed an e-mountain bike. I grabbed one of the bikes in my demo fleet and went out to ride that one. And just knowing that, okay, I can ride, like I might have the time to ride 10 miles, but given that I'm on an e-bike, I'll be able to squeeze in maybe a 15 to a 20-mile ride.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I got in, I think, like an 18-mile ride, and I was getting back to the trailhead just as kind of it was getting a little bit too dark in the trail. Um, so that was, awesome, to be able to do that and just essentially double the ride, because of the drive unit, and still come home after the ride feeling like I had, gotten a workout in, like I got my heart rate up, I was able to kind of put some power down and stuff.
No, that's what we tell people all the time. They come in and they say, "Oh, I don't want an e-bike because I ride a road bike. Why would I want to do that?" And I say, this is just an addition to what you already have. You don't. It doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily have to replace your bike. It can just fill that void for the needs that you need.
Yeah. I tell people that at, like mountain bike events where they say, like, well, I already have an e-mountain bike, or I already have a mountain bike, like, what do I need an e-bike for? I'm like, well, they're not nobody's trying to replace a mountain bike. Like everybody that I work with and everybody on my team, that rides mountain bike or that rides e-bikes, we also ride other bikes too. We just
Right.
also like that we can, like maybe go to a bike park and not have to wait in line for the lift, or we'll be able to double the distance of a ride before the sun goes down, or maybe a spouse that is, not as fit as, someone else, like they could ride together. I see couples on them all the time,
Yep.
with a spouse that, like maybe one of them is a pro and the other one's not, but they can still ride together, that way. So there's definitely, a place for them, and they're not trying to replace any other, bike out there. It's just an additional one to add to the stable, and as cyclists, like I think we're always kind of looking for an opportunity to buy another bike.
Right. That's
you
what I
know?
tell people. Working in a bike shop or working for a bike company is a blessing and a curse because
Yeah.
we have access, and every time I get a paycheck, there's definitely another bike I want to buy, man. And
Oh
I am
man.
I am definitely gonna be looking at one with the Shimano step system now these days, man. I'm gonna definitely be looking out because I do wanna, I do tours, and so not
Yeah.
everybody who is on my tour is on the same level. And if I can adjust or bring that speed down and make it more accessible to different people on a different level, that's definitely
Yeah.
something worth looking into, brother. And thank you for giving me that bit of information. Uh,
Yeah.
any anything before you see how fast that time flew by, man. You said you were nervous. It's been 30 minutes already, man, just like that.
Yeah. I
Any
was actually just getting started, man. I was just
Well,
starting
keep
to feel
going. I mean, go, man, go. Anything. I mean, anything before I let you go, brother. I mean, that you want to talk about that I didn't touch on. I know I try to get it all in there. We talked about demos being kind of on the slowdown. We talked about steps. Anything else you want to fill us in on?
Yeah. Like a couple cool things that Shimano, is doing. Like we just celebrated our 100th anniversary, the Centennial. So we have a cool website, a Shimano and Centennial website that I would encourage people to check out. I could send you a link if you wanted to post that, from the YouTube channel. I think that's cool. It kind of goes through the, history of Shimano, and, right from the beginning, when the freewheel, when you develop the first freewheel onto, now, and also covers even the fishing components too. So I think that's something cool, that some of your viewers might want to check out as well. So I can send you one of those if you wanted to post that.
Absolutely, man. I will absolutely get that link, send it to me. I'll get it posted. It'll be on the YouTube channel underneath this video, guys. So whenever you guys want to access that information, that is where it'll be. Adam, man, you did an amazing job, man. We're gonna do this again later in the year when like demos come back, and then you'll be a seasoned pro. You'll be back in peak form because you'll be talking to people, and it'll
Yeah,
seem like
yeah, definitely. Let's do it. I appreciate you, inviting me on. Maybe when I get back out on the road and I'm, like used to being out and I'm talking to groups of people and everything, and like a bit more practiced. Yeah, and now that I've done this one, I'll feel a bit more comfortable, doing,
there it is, man. We like
doing
to
again, man. But yeah, let's definitely do it again later on.
we like to push people out of their comfort zone. And now, look, man, you just brought your pay level up. You can go back to work and be like, look, I do live stuff now, guys. Check out this show that I did. It was awesome. So
Oh
when you start
man.
making a little bit more money, you can send me a kickback. It's all cool.
I'll do
Adam,
that. Well, I think some of my teammates might be, watching right now, and I'm sure my, text messages and, phone's gonna blow up after this. So, we'll see what they do. We'll see what those guys have to say.
all right, Adam, brother. Thank you for coming on today, man. I'll see you soon. Let's go ride some bikes, especially mountain bikes, man. Because like I've always wanted to really get more into it. So now that I know the guy who knows the system, I'm gonna give you a call.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'll, the next time I make it back up to Detroit, I'll let you know.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Take care.
Later.
All right.
All right, everybody. That was Adam Kidd, the demo coordinator and steps rep for Shimano e-bikes. Man, dude, like I get tired of saying it every week. I leave with a smile on my face. You know what I mean? I wake up and it's like, it's showtime. It is showtime, but the guests bring me up, bring me up. Thank you for coming this week. Before I let you go, once again, you know what I got to do? Remind you to subscribe, hit the subscribe button. I think it's going to be over. How about I just start doing it like this until I figure it out? There's a subscribe button. We're at 150. We're trying to hit 500 so we can give away a $100 gift certificate to Electric Avenue Bikes. Before I go, I want to thank my sponsors. I want to thank Loomis Helmets. They're right there. Look, I got it right this week. 77 programmable different screens. They got stuff pre-programmed in there. If you can see, we put the RiDetroit in there. Check out the Loomis helmets. They're available at the Apple stores and available online. I'd like to also thank Griffin Claw Brewing. Yes, yes, yes. They've been with us since day one. So go check them out. And also check out Lumen, another spot of theirs over in downtown Detroit. And I want to thank Electric Avenue Bikes, of course, the home of Ride Detroit Weekly. I want to thank my boys, man. I never thank my boys. I never thank Anthony and Alpha, two cats that make this show happen. I just sit here and talk, really, and just buy shit for y'all. You know what I'm saying? They make me look good. It takes a team to make this presentable. So thank those guys. I want to thank Wingman Water, and I definitely want to thank Tab Beverages. I'm just going to name this drink myself. Y'all haven't sent in any comments about the Purple Power Up. This is our signature drink that we have on tap at the shop. This is the only place you can get the Purple Power Up. So if you want to come through and try it, we'll give you a little sip. We're trying to get this thing canned if we get some feedback on it. So we're going to come up with our own name because y'all are just not helping me out on that one. So we'll see how that one works. And other than that, man, am I forgetting anything, fellas? All right. See you next week on Ride Detroit Weekly.